No PowerPoint today. I got a little bit lazy. I'm sorry. You and I are just going to speak right now. I want to cover my key takeaways from the UFC 316 press conference. This was actually a pretty good event press conference. I know that we want the longer ones just so that they can talk about, the reporters, can get into the things that we discuss online and in the videos like this and ask the fighters directly, and they rarely do it. They just talk about the fights. But we do so much talking about this type of stuff on the internet, and they go on to other interview shows and they talk about these things that are hot button topics in the community. I'm not really sure if a day before or a couple of days removed from fight night is going to be the place to ask about a lot of the things that we get mad that press conferences aren't longer for. So if we're talking about purely discussing what's going to happen on Saturday and asking a panel of 10 different fighters about their 5 different fights that they're going to be holding between the pairs of them, 15-20 minutes is actually perfect for that. So that's what we got. It was a nice press conference. John Anik was there, Dana White wasn't, and this was clearly just because of the petition stuff, and they knew that Dana was going to get grilled about the whole John Jones thing that's happening. Dana White sent John Anik to the press conference. So what's going to happen through this petition stuff is we're just going to end up seeing Dana less probably, because he's going to not be as actively involved as the front man for the media whenever he knows that they're just going to be dragging him all the time. So that sucks that he wasn't there. John Anik still did a good job, but Sean O'Malley is Dana White's, that's his boy, so he was supposed to be there for him. Sean O'Malley came out on fire. You saw the wheels turning after the first question that he was asked. They asked Sean O'Malley and Merab if they thought that this fight was going to be the same for both of them. You saw the Jimmy Neutron brain blast moment occurring in Sean O'Malley's brain as he thought about the response to the question. And he said, I'm undefeated in rematches. And he talked about the Cheeto fight, and he said, these are completely different matchups, but... And then he, almost got stuck for a second like old O'Malley, where, somebody would talk over him. And he was like, but I'm undefeated in rematches, so we're going to keep that going. And that actually got a loud crowd pop, and that was a good moment. Before, High O'Malley, who was just smacked for a majority of the year outside of his training camps and fighting, he wouldn't have been able to think of such a quick response. And he did a good job thinking well on his feet and not being cringe. So I'm really digging the O'Malley rebrand. Merab is a good champion as far as the way that he represents the belt. He comes in nice suit every single time, well spoken, even though English is his second language. He's very respectful. The only time that he disrespects his opponents really is whenever he's disrespected first. For all the things that were said in the first fight, you can definitely tell that Merab is still salty about all of it. And he's not just going to be super foreboding and forgiving and just let all of it go for the fact that Sean O'Malley has turned over a new leaf. And he was talking a lot about how he made Sean O'Malley humble. But it's not anything wrong. And I think Sean O'Malley even knows this too. And he wasn't responding viscerally through different points of the press conference where they kept asking him about this fight and how Sean O'Malley has changed. He just kept on saying, I made him humble, I made him humble, I made him humble. And at a certain point, I feel like Sean O'Malley just kind of snapped. And he said, once he knocks Merab out, everyone's going to forget about him. And that was the only time old O'Malley reared its head in this press conference. Otherwise, complete business professional. He was very respectful towards Merab. He was only speaking about the fight. And they were asking him about his family getting to be there. There was other things that I missed covering. He also, he had a son. His father will be there at the fight. And he's not talking about this as oh yeah, I'm about to knock out Merab for my new baby boy. Or I'm about to knock out Merab because my dad is there. He's just saying, yes, I'm going to fight, and I have a child now, and my dad will be there, and he's going to get to watch me fight, Because old O'Malley would have just sat up there with a pink furry feather mink on, and he would have just talked about how he was going to knock out Merab the whole time. And every single question would have just been yeah, but once I knock him out and they scoop up his body from the canvas, and then he would expand on that response from there. But it wasn't any of this, and I actually did appreciate it a lot. At the very end, they faced off O'Malley and Merab. O'Malley had nothing to say to Merab except for, this is a different fight, right? Merab says, yes, and I am ready for it. And that was it. They nod, they do their little bicep flex, fist up for the cameras in the audience, and then they walk off the stage. Sean O'Malley versus Merab 2, it's not really a grudge match. There's a possibility that Sean O'Malley has done more off-screen battling with himself than he will do for 25 minutes in the octagon with Merab. I can't explain it. Sean O'Malley just looks sharper. And his eyes as well, he looks more pointed towards what he's looking at. Another guy who I think stole the show was our homie Mario Batista. As funny as that sounds, Patchy Mix, he was just trying to Patchy Mix isn't doing a bad thing, right? He's selling himself to the point where a win in the UFC with as highly as he's spoken of himself will catapult his clout in the promotion more than it would if he was behaving like O'Malley is behaving right now going into this first fight. Patchy Mix is kind of acting like the old O'Malley in this fight with Mario Batista, and he's grossly overestimating what a win over Batista would do for him in the UFC. He's talking about title fights after this with like a good enough performance. Even if he chins Mario Batista and it's brutal, there's no way he's going to get a title shot from this performance. There's no way. And Mario Batista, they asked him if they thought that they would get title shots for winning against each other. And Patchy Mix was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm about to get a title shot after I knock out this idiot. And Mario Batista gave a better answer. And he was like, no, it'll get me in the top 5, I think, but I'll probably need one more win. And that's a very reasonable expectation for himself. I think that Mario Batista has proven himself to be like an actual contender through the build-up of this fight week, and how he's handled all this hate that he's receiving. People were like, Mario, do you think that you're an overlooked fighter in this matchup for the fact that people feel a certain way about you online and they want Patchy Mix to win? Mario Batista picked up the mic and everyone just booed him, and he said, clearly I'm not overlooked, because whenever I'm up here, I'm the one getting all the attention. And the crowd, after he said that, nobody made a peep after he said that. Batista's a for real guy, man. And like, he's not the best contender, but he's solid UFC talent. And it's an absolute mockery of our promotion for the fact that people are like, oh yeah, Patchy Mix is going to come in no diff Mario Batista, who we've seen in the UFC fighting for years. They asked Sean O'Malley a question about whether or not he had an off night, and Sean O'Malley used this as a way to give Merab praise and to be like, no, Merab is just really that good. And, you know, there were some things going on. He's made the excuse of tearing his hip before. That was another thing that I forgot to cover too. Sean O'Malley had a torn labrum, and that was the reason why he was on crutches going into the last fight. People were like, oh yeah, it's over for him. And it was, because he had torn his labrum, which sucks. So he couldn't even wrestle throughout his camp. But they asked him that question. They were like, okay, do you think this was just an off night for you, or what was going on, Sean? And he was like, no excuses, man. Merab really just is that good. And then Patchy Mix speaks up and he's like, nah, fuck that. You just had an off night. And it was not his place to say that. Like, he can say what he wants, he's a grown-ass man, but who the fuck is this guy? Patchy has a potential to be a star. I think that he has a potential to be one of those really highly memed fighters in the UFC, just because he's unintentionally funny. I saw this one quote that he had spoken today, and he said something so, like, zesty without realizing it, and that shit had me dying at work, bro. But yeah, I don't think he wins this fight, bro. Patchy Mix, he's lowballing the fuck out of Mario Batista like he's not shit, and that's a mistake, bro, because Mario Batista is actually pretty good. We think he sucks because he beat Jose Aldo. We literally are under the impression that Mario Batista sucks because he beat Jose Aldo. What is that? Like, I've never understood why people think he's bad because he beat Jose Jr. Aldo, and we all know that Jose Aldo is pretty good at fighting, and that's an understatement. He's very good. So anyone who's able to beat him anyway, they're actually a decent fighter with however approach they like to go with in their fights. I appreciate Mix making the press conference interesting because I feel like everyone else was kind of walking on eggshells. Even Kayla Harrison and Juliana Pena felt like they weren't really throwing crazy shots at each other. I feel like Juliana Pena was willing to go there, but she didn't want to get nasty first. And Kayla Harrison was just trying to be a business professional about the whole thing. And a lot of their beef was squashed by Kayla Harrison just saying, we're going to find out, or we'll see Saturday. I will show you why I'm the greatest woman fighter. Juliana Pena was saying things to try to troll her, though, like, I'm the face of WMMA. Or like, the face of WMMA is here right now and you're looking at her. And that was right after Kayla Harrison just got done answering a question, and she would just be like, I guess we'll see on Saturday. And that was so funny to watch because I know she just wanted to crash out on Juliana so bad. Kelvin Gastelum, they asked him about the fight with Joe Pyfer. Nobody showed Joe Pyfer any love on this stage. They barely talked to Kelvin Gastelum either, but they just asked him about what the heck he's even doing up there. And he was like, I don't know, but I'm going to have some fun, and I'm very excited, and I'm ready for a war on Saturday. The reporter question was basically like, Kelvin, after all these years, how the hell are you still on stage at these numbered card press conferences? And he literally was like, I don't know, dude. I mean, you worded it a bit differently. Like, it's been some time. This is another high-profile matchup for you at 185, and you've been around for a minute. What are you expecting from the matchup? And Kelvin Gastelum was like, I'm expecting a war. And Vicente Luque said the exact same thing. Another thing that we need to talk about is that boy Kevin Holland, man. That boy Kevin Holland, man, he's a mess, dude. His fight day media from yesterday was number one bullshit. He was talking about the Rampage Jackson press conference. I mean, I guess the reporter asking about the Rampage stuff and not just outwardly making a joke about the 45-70, if that's really what he wanted to make the meme about, that's kind of corny. Because he was right. Kevin Holland got asked, what is your relationship with Rampage Jackson like in the big 2025? And Kevin Holland was like, is Rampage Jackson the UFC? And the guy was like, no. And so Kevin Holland was like, all right, so get off his nuts. And Kevin Holland, he was being an asshole, dude. That guy blocked me on Instagram for literally doing nothing. But I just don't like the way that he is overlooking Vicente. The reporter was talking to Kevin Holland. They just fucked with Kevin Holland, clearly, and they were asking him some dumbass questions. Like, would you fight Bilal after this if you beat Vicente Luque? And I asked him if he would fight Bilal Muhammad after this. And Kevin Holland was like, why would they give me Bilal? He's been on a crazy win streak, and he's only lost one fight recently, so why would I get scheduled with Bilal? He said, I'm looking for the easiest fights in welterweight. And so that means that he took this fight with Vicente Luque under the impression that this would be one of the easiest fights in welterweight. And also, he said that he wanted Colby Covington next because of the fact that he wants the easiest fights in welterweight. If you can sprawl, Vicente Luque is one of the easiest fights in welterweight. Kevin Holland thinks that just because Buckley beat Vicente Luque and that he beat Buckley, because that's what he mentioned. He was like, I'm just trying to figure out what happened in the Buckley fight. Like, 2025 Buckley wouldn't absolutely murder Kevin Holland. Like, what are you on, mate? He's overlooking Vicente bad, bro. And Vicente is a wrestler, and that's how you beat Kevin Holland. You can do it for free if you can get him to the ground. He's a big fucker at 170, but I could see him getting choked for the fact that he doesn't even expect it to happen. And Vicente Luque was born in New Jersey, so that was a good pick. I picked Vicente Luque to win via round one submission. I'm standing on that business, especially after what I saw tonight. Oh, hell no, man. Kevin Holland is a flight risk for betting. His ass was tweaking too. In the weigh-ins, he was like, I need to get a knockout or something, or a win. He was like, a win makes sex better the night of. And he was like, do you understand what I'm saying to Vicente, who was just looking really uncomfortable because, like, why are you talking about that? And then Kevin Holland was like, or do you not have sex? And then Vicente just faced off, just smiled uncomfortably. And it's like the big mouth thing, it was cool, I guess, whenever he was an upcoming contender, but now he loses, and most of the time the big mouth stuff is just perverted or weird. This is an actual, like, heel to me in the UFC. Kevin Holland is like a proper heel, and it's crazy that he has developed into what he is now from 2020 whenever he was so loved. W press conference. At the very end, they asked that boy John Anik about the John Jones petition, and he was like, he handled it with class. John Anik was the right guy to send in place of Dana White if he wasn't going to make the appearance. Because John Anik was talking about some Tom Aspinall versus John Jones is a massive fight to make in the UFC, and it would be an even bigger fight if they were both champion. I agree. I don't know when it's going to happen. I would love to see it happen in, he said December in Vegas, but then he also said that he's sure that John Jones doesn't give a rip. That's the exact quote. John Jones doesn't give a rip if they strip him for the title. And then he just pointed to the next reporter and answered another question. That was the end of it from there. They just went back to asking Sean O'Malley questions. It's exciting to see everyone, especially after the Macy Barber thing last week. I need to see these people like days before the fight to make sure that they're good, because she never looked fine. The weigh-ins, at any point, media day, she never looked good. I need to see them all together on the stage, and it was very helpful. Even though the VOD I watched, I'm not sure who uploaded it, that camera work it needs some work. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm on a very amateur channel as well. I need to get like a professional backdrop or something to improve the quality of my stuff, but bro, they were like swiveling the camera like back and forth for like, it was really rough, man. But I liked the press conference. I thought that it was good, and I thought that everyone had good moments. I think Kevin Holland made himself a meme, and he will be an even larger meme if he loses on Saturday. Vicente Luque is from New Jersey, and he just made it known that he's from there, so he's going to have more fan support. Not really is going to do much for him in the fight because they can't fight for you. Patchy Mix, he may make an ass out of himself if he loses, but he's still going to be worth keeping around if he's good at fighting at all, just because he's a fun personality too. Mario Batista has shown himself to be a professional at this fighting stuff. I'm not mad at the way that he's treating any of this. Kayla Harrison, she is so big. She is so big. Kayla Harrison is massive, dude. Whenever she does this or like flexes forward, she looks like me, dude. She literally looks like me. She literally looks like me whenever she double bicep flexes. And that is crazy. And that's insane. Juliana Pena, nobody cares, dude. And she is so annoying. And that's like it. Whenever they were asking her questions about this fight, she just tried to find a way to annoy Kayla Harrison and to be annoying in general and to say something that's like super brash and that would invoke a knee-jerk reaction. And she just wasn't getting it out of Kayla Harrison. Sean O'Malley said that he was going to knock out Merab and everyone was going to forget about him. And that switched on Merab. I could tell. He was like, I think I made him humble, but no, he's not humble. I need to humble him more, clearly. And after he put the mic down, he just kept nodding. And so I feel like that just made it weird. And Sean O'Malley couldn't help himself. But, I mean, this is a fight, too, so even a sober-minded Sean is going to say something competitive, and that brought it out of Merab. And it's not like he just awoke the dragon, because they're both very locked in, but if the fight was relatively low stakes on the basis of respect before this moment, which happened towards the end of the press conference, where Sean O'Malley said, I'm going to knock out Merab Dvalishvili, and then we're all going to forget about this title reign, and him in general, Merab, he is not going to forget about that. Like the Michael Jordan meme, and so I took that personal. That was Merab in that moment. And he's going to spin for the fact that Sean O'Malley said that. Sean O'Malley, though, he looked like he was an adult. For the first time in his life, it didn't look like I was watching someone my age up there talk before they fought. He looked like he was significantly older than me. And that is refreshing. What's fun about supporting these champions is that they're like Islam most of the time, or like Drickus, and they have this air of like, oh, this is just not just an ordinary person. Sean O'Malley, with his conduct, it was just like, it was too base. And not based, base. Like simple and plain and unbecoming of a world champion. I feel like now he is so much more dignified in the way that he carries himself, in the way that he talks to people, in the way that he's addressing Merab even. This is a different fight, and you know that. And Merab agrees. This will be a different fight. And that's what we're gonna watch. I'm so excited, you guys. So yes, please stay tuned for UFC 316. I think that I am just going to whip up a PowerPoint in the meantime of this card happening on Saturday, and then I'll be back for the recap, and then I'll release that video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you've made it to this point. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. That's like the big milestone. I know that we have a lot of smaller ones to celebrate before then, but we're almost at like 350 right now, and I really just started getting serious about this at the beginning of April. So it's only really been 2 months, and I started with like 75 subs from my old setup and a little bit of work that I had done from there. I really want to get to 1,000 subscribers. That would be a huge dream come true for me. So that's what I'm working towards. I really am just focused on watching these fights and talking about them and giving you guys my opinion on the things that happen in the sport. There's a lot of great things to cover. MMA is in a healthy state. I'm going to keep repeating this. Like, MMA is fine. Like, we're okay. The UFC is good. We're about to get a good card on Saturday. And even those prelims, I feel like, are going to be freaking sick.